Chúng ta sẽ quay trở lại với hội thảo trưa ngày hôm nay. Now, please be ready for welcoming our next speaker, Mr. Lars Droste from SAP Cloud Platform COE, SAP Asia Pacific Japan, for changing innovational pace. Please welcome Lars.
Good afternoon, actually, good afternoon almost, Vietnam. Changing innovational pace is what I'd like to talk about quickly today. So we have heard today so much around machine learning. Christian has talked about it, Martin has talked about it, around IoT and all these new solutions out there. And you know all of these things already. In your organization every day, you are thinking about IoT, you're thinking about machine learning, about social media, and all of these different things. But now the question is, since you or your organization is thinking about this every day, why is not every organization using it already? Why is not every organization using IoT? Why is not every organization using machine learning today? And there's a reason for it. And the reason is actually quite simple. If we look at the historic IT spending in your organization today, you spend around 73% of your IT budget to actually keep your existing systems alive. Your ERP, your CRM, your database, all of these different systems. You're spending 73% to keep these systems alive, which only leaves a very, very limited budget to actually drive innovation. So we actually want to turn this around. We want to give you a tool set with which you can actually maximize these 28 or 27% to drive innovation in a completely new and efficient way. And if we actually look at what the analysts have said, Gartner and McKinsey, they've actually summed this up. This is not a concept which is from SAP. This actually is an industry analyst theme. And they actually call it the bi-model IT. They have actually said everything you have bought in the past and you're running in your organization, which is fundamentally important for your organization, is mode 1. That's your stable core. That's your CRM. That's the blood of your organization, which you need to actually survive and run your business. But since you can't really change that quickly, you don't change your ERP every week. You don't change your CRM every 2 or 3 months. You need to have a second layer on top of your existing systems, which IDC and Gartner call the mode 2, the flexible layer, a complete new layer in which you can actually build machine learning, IoT, mobility, analytics very, very, very quickly without actually touching your stable core, your mode 1. And the interesting thing is, once you actually adopt this bi-model IT, you can do really cool things. And one of the things is MVP. Have you heard about MVP? It stands for the minimum viable product. If you today look at the system you're implementing, in most cases you can only leverage the full capability of the system after it's fully implemented. Before it's implemented, the business user can't actually use it. But once you actually adopt this bi-model speed, the bi-model IT, you can actually start building incremental solutions on top of your stable core, on top of your CRM, on top of your ERP, or whatever you have, and give incremental values to your users. As you can see there, you can start building small products, small solutions, which the business user can utilize immediately. And I'll give you some examples of how this actually looks like. So just from a visualization perspective, what you have. So on the left-hand side, you see your core, your actual core systems. And on the right-hand side, you see the mode 2, the flexible layer. Now, your core systems can be SAP systems. It can also be third-party systems. It doesn't have to be SAP. But on the right-hand side, you have the flexible layer, the layer in which you can build all these small incremental solutions without touching anything you have on the left side. So if you want to build machine learning, if you want to build a solution with IoT, you can build that on the right-hand side, within the flexible layer. Again, without touching and disrupting what you have on the left-hand side, which very much reduces the risk, because you can start building solutions risk-free, incrementally, without changing anything in your actual core systems which you have. And once you actually do this, you can make use of the most valuable asset you have in your organization. Anyone knows what that is? Well, you can see it on the bottom. It's data. There's a saying which goes around, data is the new currency. The data you have collected in your respective business is worth so much. No one knows your industry, your customers better than yourself. Once you build a flexible solution on top of your core, you can utilize all the data you have collected and make decisions with it. Give it back to your customer. Serve your customer in a new way, because you know what a customer is going to buy after he has bought 2 of your other products, for example. So you can actually utilize this data. Now, within this flexible layer, which is Mode 2, it's basically a toolbox of services. So a few things I mentioned there. We have heard about from Christian and Martin about machine learning. We've heard about IoT, which you can see on the right-hand side. But there are also things like mobility. There are things like analytics. There are things as user experience as a service. So all of these things you can actually gradually utilize on top of your existing backend systems. Combine data, as you can see on the bottom, from all of these different backend systems and suddenly build an analytical dashboard for a certain business user in your organization, which combines data from various data sources and gives it back to the user instead of having a point-to-point solution which they were using before. So the first thing what our customers are doing, they're actually extending. They're extending the existing core ERP, CRM, or any kind of backend system by actually building new solutions on top of it, to build new functionalities on top of it. Functionalities which are relevant for the business user. Because usually the business user had to wait until the new ERP or the new business line of business solution is implemented. But once you have the flexible layer, you can give all these extensions quickly to your business users. So one of our customers which has actually done this is Cargill. Cargill was a simple shipping company, operations company. They have lots of trucks. They're shipping goods all over the United States, operating different countries as well. And as you know from a classical shipping company, what they do, usually in the morning, the driver arrives at the truck. He will pick up the delivery orders and the shipping list which he has for the respective truck. He would look at the map where he has to drive, and then he would actually drive to the location of the customer. It's not the most efficient thing, because when he arrives at the customer manually has to check if everything has been delivered. Once the things have been delivered, someone would sign off. He would take the paper back to the office, and it would be typed back into the ERP system, and the order is fulfilled. They said, we actually want to get away from that, because we have all the systems already in the back end. We have an ERP system. We know what's on the truck. We know where the truck is going. We know the customer system, where the delivery is going, what kind of system they have. Why don't we automate the process, make it automatically for the driver? So in the morning, the driver takes his iPad. He looks at his shipping order, whatever he needs. He can see the map. He can drive to the customer. And while he's driving to the customer, the customer can actually see when the truck is arriving based on the GPS location. He knows where the truck is. He knows when the truck is arriving. With NFC and RFID in the truck, they even know exactly what's back in the truck. So no one has to manually look at the different pallets which have been loaded in the truck. It's all automatically within the application. A routing mechanism is available in the application, so the driver knows where to go. The driver knows how to avoid traffic. So you can react in the best possible way, and instead of doing 4 deliveries a day, they can do 5 and 6 deliveries a day, which is an increase of 20-25%, which is another cap, by simply using the systems which they already have. Nothing new. by just building a solution for the driver on top of it to actually drive them and help them get to the target in the most efficient way, and combining this with the data they already have. And this is just a representation of how it actually looks like. Again, an ERP system, you have all these things. You have all these data fields. Just combine it for your actual user. Give it to the user at point of entry, so when he arrives at the customer, he can type in all the information, the customer can sign on the form, and the invoice can be processed automatically in the backend system. By simply combining all the information you already have in your backend system. The second scenario, which you can actually do with a product, is integration of different products. How many times have we actually implemented different solutions for different things? Your line of business finance user wants a solution for a certain thing. Your HR user comes tomorrow and wants another solution for a certain thing. And then procurement, which is part of finance, wants another solution. So your business ends up implementing all these point-to-point solutions. But from an IT perspective, you need to manage all these point-to-point solutions. You need to manage all the integration points between these different solutions. Wouldn't it be really interesting if you could have one platform which allows you to holistically integrate to everything you have in your business already, so you have access to the data at any time. You only do this once. And once you're integrated, again, you can start merging the data. You can start merging the processes. So one of the companies who actually done this was the insurance company in a Southeast Asian country. They have seen how insurance was working historically in different parts of the world. And if you know insurance, it's pretty much the same business everywhere. They might have some different products, but in the end, insurance is always insurance. So they were actually looking at a way to actually serve insurance to a completely new demographic by using data they have, because they know their customers. But they realized that the millennials and people actually buy insurance different than before. So what they did, they tapped into the data they have collected over the past, and they actually built a new application for their sales agent on top of it, which integrates to all of these different solutions such as underwriting, risk, policy, pull all of this information for the line of sales, for the actual sales manager to make a decision on the spot, and actually serve the right information to the right sales agent for the right customer at the right time by simply integrating everything. And just think where this could be going. When we talk about integration, you can integrate to Twitter. You can integrate to Facebook. You can integrate to another insurance company. You can pull all of this information to actually serve and make a decision of what you would like to serve and give to your customer for your respective business. You can enrich the data and your sales cycle with data you can integrate from different other areas as well. So you can fundamentally change the way you're doing business. Because again, you don't have to change and touch your core CRM on ERP processes which you have, which keep your business alive. You can build on top of it completely new things, risk-free and in an incremental way. The next thing is, as indicated, build and innovate. Once you actually disattach and decouple your actual core ERP, your core backend, and you disattach this from your flexible development tool, from your flexible layer, you can actually now risk-free try innovation. You might have seen the slide which Martin presented this morning, where the innovation curve actually goes below at some stage. Because many times when you actually try an innovative solution, you might actually build something which is not feasible. So you need to be really careful what you build, because usually you would buy a system to build and innovate. But with SAP Cloud Platform as a product, you actually don't need to buy a completely new system, because it's a subscription service. You can subscribe for any kind of solution you want. You can try out this innovative solution independent from your core, and you can run it for a couple of users. You can run it for 100 users. You can run it for 10 users. You can actually test out your innovation before you commercialize it in your organization. So by decoupling your core from the development, you are in a very risk-free environment to actually try innovation, which gives you all this flexibility to innovate. So one of the customers was Vestas, which is a company for energy production, basically. And they also wanted to change their doing business. And it's a very similar story to actually which was talked about from the shipping company. When they actually wanted to perform work on the equipment they have, as you know, many times you have a car, you have spare parts in the car, you drive to the facility, and then you actually need to have a pen and paper and to check out different things which you want to install. But they realized that they have actually 6 different systems they're working across. They have one system which is for spare parts, simply order management system. They have a supply chain system. They have the finance ERP. They have an HR system, all of these different things. So they actually said, why can we not combine all of these different systems and give it to the user on the front end? Because in the end, the user is the one who needs all these systems. Sometimes you want to take vacation. You need the HR system. Sometimes you want to book a slot for a certain work order at a certain item. This is a different system. But once you can actually combine these things from a scheduling perspective, from a spare parts perspective, from an HR perspective, you can just give your sales user, your business partner, or your engineer one application which has access to everything. So today the engineer wakes up in the morning once more. He can look at the iPad. He can see all the orders he has. He can see which spare parts he has. He will be routed to the site to conduct the work. He can actually see when he checks out the spare part of the car and scans it with the camera of the device, it will be again sent to the backend system to order a new spare part. If he doesn't know how to assemble or disassemble a certain item, there are maps, like visual representations of how to put things together, all of the line of, in the line of sight for the actual engineer. And this data once more is available. You have it in your core system. Just give it to your users. Make it relevant for your users at any point in time so your users can use it wherever they go and whatever they are doing. It's not just work orders, it's scheduling across different teams. How difficult it is sometimes to actually work across different teams, to pull data and bring people together to work on certain things. Someone is on vacation, someone is sick, someone is not there, the site is closed. There are so many events which are happening. But again, you can manage all these events in a timeline for users to actually increase efficiency, to bring IoT into the context, without actually waiting that your machine is breaking down if you're in a printing business, if you work in retail, if you work in construction. Before actually waiting that something is breaking down, the application can get a notification and proactively alert someone to actually proactively fix it before you have a downtime. Again, by integrating and building all these innovative solutions. But the interesting thing is, you don't have to do all this initially. With the SAP Cloud Platform, you can start very small. Take 2 systems, combine the data out of 2 systems, and create a visual dashboard. Next week, next month, next half year, you might want to bring IoT into the context. You want to bring machine learning into the context. Every time you want to build something new, you don't need to buy a new system. You can just incrementally use additional services to build these things without increasing your investment in new technology. And that makes it so powerful. And on the other side, if you don't actually use these systems, or if the innovation you're planning to build doesn't work, you can actually switch it off as well, because it's a subscription service. At no point in time you have actually bought a new server. You had a new technology team which invents something, which has to implement something. You can gradually manage your innovation away from your core to build all these innovative solutions. And then actually we come to a point where you can actually merge things, people, and businesses. Remember? That's something you have seen in the morning. When you bring all these things together to bring the right content, funded decision, with the right data to the people you need, you can change the way you're actually doing business in a gradual and very, very cost-effective way. And remember the 28% at the beginning, which I showed? This is usually the point in which you can't innovate anymore, because you don't have budget left to innovate. But if you actually go for a product such as SAP Cloud Platform, you can go beyond this. Because in order to innovate, you don't need to buy a complete new system. you can gradually subscribe for additional services to build this innovation, to build something new. And this is really where you can overcome this inflection point. So I invite you to talk to us in the Experience Zone later on and have a chat around your respective business, and we can actually show you some examples of how we can take this forward. The last thing I'd like to show is our partnership which we have with Apple. It's a very, very strategic partnership in which we actually merge and go the last mile to not only give you the back-end integration, but bring it to your customers in a very, very user-friendly way, in the most native way, which you are used from an iOS device. And it's really, truly beautiful experience for users to actually change the way how work can be done. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time and wish you a great day. Again, if you have any more questions, please feel free to meet us later, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lars. Ladies and gentlemen, after this session, so we come next to the stage, we would like to introduce